So I guess the first question to really ask, and there are a number of questions to look at: laws, how they're being implemented, the Good Samaritan Act, what can be done to have immediate care for anybody who's actually hit by an accident, how do we make people drive better? But first of all, the basic question of changing attitudes. And perhaps, Gul, I can start with you. Are you noticing any differences at all? Are people starting to become a bit more careful or not yet?
Well, I think the interesting point to note here is that when there is the regulatory framework that takes it upon itself to actually make a change, you do see changes. The Mumbai Traffic Police's drive against drunken driving has been highly successful. It's one of the most successful drives in India, of course, and of course one of the stellar campaigns launched by a regulatory framework in the world. Incidents of drunken driving have come down dramatically. That's, of course, to address the issue of drunken driving during festive seasons and so on and so forth. As a culture, I think we don't put safety as a priority, whether it's on our roads or in the way we construct our homes or in our general attitude towards things like fire hazards and so on and so forth. Now, that may be the case. I'd like to draw your attention to something very interesting, and that is, while we can pass off the fact that we don't have a regard for life and we don't, we tend to have this, it's not my day to die, or I won't get caught if I jump a signal, or if I don't wear a seat belt, or if I say drink and drive. That may be part of a cultural ethos where you don't put safety as a priority. Having said that, if you just look at the figures, India's road fatalities account for 10% of global fatalities in the world. It can be a function of population, but China, an equally large country, has successively managed to reduce its road fatalities every year for the past decade. So it's down to less than 90,000 as of last year. While we do have a scant regard for safety as a culture, you notice the fact that our air safety record is an area of interest for me. I'm a hobby pilot, is actually at par with the rest of the world. In fact, it's actually India's air safety record is at par with Germany, which is a highly organized, highly disciplined society. So what makes people who are part of a larger unsafe culture suddenly become very safe when they are in an aviation environment? The same guy who jumps at traffic.
Smaller number of flyers, better trained.
Regulatory framework.
You don't drink and fly. I've never heard of anybody drinking and flying.
Well, they do, and they get fired, and they have their licenses suspended. So it's punitive action as well. The regulatory framework and punitive action that follows any circumnavigation of the law. And that is the reason why people from this macro culture with scant regard for safety suddenly become the safest, one of the safest in the world. Once regulated, once tightly monitored. Yes, smaller numbers, but the need for regulation, the need for enforcement can't be understated.
Laws, how they will be enforced is something that I really want to come to.